Internal stakeholders are all those people, all those individuals who are working within the organization. Okay, they can be employers, they can be employees, the CEO of the organization, and manager, supervisor. So all the designations who are present within the organization, and they are actually working within organization, physically working within an organization. Okay, so they are internal stakeholders, while all the people who are connected with the organization but they do not work within the uh, organization, or you can say they are not physically present in the organization, they are known as external stakeholders. For example, they can be shareholders, contractors, distributors, the suppliers. Okay, so all of these people are external stakeholders. These are those people who provide the basic raw material to the organization, who finance the organization, or who distribute the products and or services of the organization to the customers. Even the customers are external stakeholders as well, customers or consumers. So this is the basic difference between the two types of stakeholders.
Yes.
Okay,
Ma'am,
so
what about this objectives?
objective
I
means,
didn't get object. You said it's a meeting of social meeting. Yeah.
okay, just objectives. Okay, objectives
Yes.
basically how the organization will meet its aims or its goals uh, with the help of internal and external stakeholders. These are known as objectives. Okay, and if we like financial objectives, corporate objectives, basically these objectives are responsibilities of the organization that the organization will fulfill with the help of both kinds of stakeholders, and without compromising their uh, financial value, or you can say the exact terminology is shareholder value. Okay, means without
Shareholders. Yeah.
compromising their stakeholders share or shareholders value, how the organization will reach its uh, basic objectives or will fulfill its responsibilities. Like financial objectives, if you do remember the financial responsibility, how the financial responsibility, the organization will generate the profit or the revenue, and will maximize the shareholder value, means by increasing the profit, of course the share of shareholder, the profit share from the profit, okay, that organization will produce, so that share of shareholder value will increase, of course. So and the main aim of all the organization, the basic aim is the profit generation. Then comes the corporate objective, achieving growth with the help of internal stakeholders. Okay, because if the workers or the employees will work properly or they will work effortlessly, only then the organization will grow. Expanding market share, when the stakeholder or the shareholder will finance the organization um in more strong way, or you can say in layman language, we can say that if the shareholder will provide more money to the organization, he will spend more money in the organization, only then the organization will be able to produce more amount of products and therefore increasing its share in the market. All right, then comes the maintaining the competitive edge in the industry. So when the organization is basically uh, covering a prominent part of the market in terms of its production, therefore the organization is coming in competition and with the organizations of the same niche. Social objectives, of course, the welfare of society, ensuring the well-being of the people living in the peripheries of the organization, and how uh, the organization will support for the noble causes, for the government institutions who are that are established in order to work for the mankind. Okay, how the organization will fund those organizations, how your organization will fund those organizations. They can be NGOs, charities, voluntary institutions. Okay. Then comes ethical objectives, how the organization is keeping a positive environment within the organization, how the attitudes, behaviors of the workers are impacted, and how the organization is keeping their integrity and their respect uncompromised. Okay. Then comes environmental objectives. So these are environmental objectives are the same responsibility, environmental responsibility. Okay. How the organization is producing the eco-friendly products.
Yes, ma'am.
Starting our next learning outcome, that is learning outcome number 2. The learning outcome number 2 states that understand the structure of organizations. It's quite interesting topic, so that is why I have divided it into two parts, so that the amount of content that you will study, you will be able to absorb that. Okay, so we will be discussing a few organizational structures today, and the remaining one tomorrow, inshallah. The assessment criteria number 2.1 states that explain the different structures found within organization. So depending upon the type of organization, the nature of organization, and by nature of organization, we mean to say that what kind of business is going on within the organization. Whether it's an import export business, it's a manufacturing business, it's pharmaceutical business, or something related to medicine or fabric, clothing, shoes, or something else. Okay. So on the basis of the nature of the business, the number of employees within the business, and the level of the business, means whether it's a local business, national, multinational, or international. So all these things will decide what kind of organizational structure the organization will adopt. Okay. So let's start with the definition. Organizational structure. Organizational structure is a systematic arrangement of human resources in an organization so as to achieve common business objectives. It outlines the roles and responsibilities of every member of the organization so that work and information flows seamlessly, ensuring the smooth functioning of an organization. So basically, organizational structure means that how you will arrange all the designations within an institution, how the orders will flow from among these designations, and how everyone will know their roles and responsibility. So a blend of these two to three things is known as organizational structure. You can call it a systematic arrangement of human resources, or systematic arrangement of designations within an organization is known as organizational structure. So having a proper organizational structure is very important because it will ensure smooth functioning within the system. Okay, everyone will know that what are their responsibilities, what are their duties, whom they need to report, and whom they need to convey their issues, problems, or queries. Okay, so this is layout of a centralized or hierarchical organizational structure. It is most commonly observed in many government institutions, and even in education institutions, whether they are private or they are government. This kind of organizational structure is observed. A system that outlines how certain activities are directed in order to achieve the goals of an organization is known as organizational structure. While the diagram, that is of a pyramid, indicates a hierarchical or centralized organizational structure in which the decision maker authority or the CEO or the higher authorities are present at the top of the pyramid, while the managers, then supervisors, then employees or workers, they are present on further lower levels of the pyramid. Understanding an organizational structure. Businesses of all shapes and sizes use organizational structures heavily. They define a specific hierarchy within an organization. A successful organizational structure defines each employee's job and how it fits within the overall system. Put simply, the organizational structure lays out who does what so the company can meet its objectives. This structuring provides a company with a visual representation of how it is shaped and how it can best move forward in achieving its goals. Organizational structures are normally illustrated in some sort of chart or diagram like a pyramid, where the most powerful members of the organization sit at the top while those with the least amount of power are at the bottom. Okay, so having a defined OS is very important. OS means organizational structure. Why is it important? Because if any organization is not having a proper structure, of course, the roles, responsibilities, and duties will not be assigned to the people. So basically, assignment of the roles or duties to the people is known as systematic arrangement of designations, or you can say organizational structure. By having a proper OS, every person within the organization will know who does what, means who is responsible for doing which job, and after the completion of job, whom to respond. These are important things that every person within an organization should know. Okay, so normally, because most commonly observed or seen OS is hierarchical structure or centralized structure. So therefore, it is represented by a diagram of a pyramid. And I have explained you that how the designations are placed along a pyramid. Those employee, more specifically, those employee who have the less power are at the bottom of the pyramid. These are those people who are actually working physically within the organization, who are directly in contact with all the instrumentation, with all the procedures, with all with the complete layout of the organization, physical layout. Okay, while those people who are the more powerful are present at the top of the pyramid, they are more educated, more they have more knowledge regarding any kind of business, any kind of administration. So therefore, they are the decision makers because they are not the skilled people, but they are more educated, more knowledgeable people. So they will rule the complete organization. While the skilled people are present at the lower level because they know how to carry out the processes actually. Okay. So it is very important to understand that why organizational structures are very important for the proper functioning of any firm, any company, any organization. Not having a formal structure in place may prove difficult for certain organizations. For instance, employees may have difficulty in knowing to whom they should report. They can lead to uncertainty as to who is responsible for what in the organization. Okay, so of course, it is understood that if the organization is not having a proper OS, the workers, the employees will not know that whom they need to respond, how they need to complete their tasks, and what is the actual milestone or the actual duration in which they need to complete the task. Okay, because there will be no supervisor, there will be no manager, everyone is doing their task in their own way. Okay, so of course the functioning of the organization will be impacted very badly in this way. The organizational structure also determines how information flows between the levels within the company. For example, in a centralized structure, decisions flow from the top down, while in a decentralized structure, decision making power is distributed among various levels of the organization. Having an organizational structure in place allows the companies to remain efficient and focused. Okay, so hierarchical OS are the basically the centralized one, while there is another type of structure that is decentralized. By the name, it indicates that it is opposite of the centralized structure. Okay, in centralized structure, like the hierarchical one, the decisions flow from top to bottom, while in the decentralized structure, decision making power is distributed among all level of the designation. Okay, from the CEO to the worker, everyone will be the decision maker. Everyone will be independent of adding innovations and creativity in their work. In short term, we can say that everyone will be his own boss. Okay? Having an organizational structure in place allows companies to remain efficient and focused. So, whether centralized or decentralized, you can choose between the two or more than, or if there is another OS, you can also select that. But having a proper OS is very important while while running any organization, while running any business. Okay. So the main aim is that everyone should know that what are his responsibilities or what are his duties. Okay, now there are some terminologies that are related with the working of organization or related to organizational structure. Span of control. And span of control refers to the number of subordinates that a manager or supervisor can effectively oversee. A narrow span of control involves fewer subordinates per manager, promoting closer supervision and control. A wide span of control involves more subordinates per manager, promoting more efficiency, but requiring greater delegation and autonomy among the employees. Okay, span of control is basically the number of subordinates that a manager or the supervisor will oversee or will control. Okay, now if we roughly talk about any hierarchical or centralized OS, on the top of the pyramid is CEO or the decision makers, then comes the managers, then comes the supervisors, then comes the employees. So roughly there are four levels. There can be more than one sub level among all these levels, but generally there are four levels. So the supervisors will oversee the employees, the workers at the lowest level. The managers will oversee the supervisors, and the CEO or the decision maker persons or the owners will supervise the manager, being their subordinate. Okay, so this is known as span of control. How many number of subordinate workers will a manager or supervisor will oversee is known as span of control. There are two type of controls: narrow and wide. Narrow means every manager or the number of subordinates per manager will be a few. Okay, less number of subordinates are present that that one manager will be overseeing. It means that in this way the manager will supervise all these subordinates more efficiently. Okay, there will be more control of a manager upon all these subordinates. While a wide span of control involves more subordinates will be present, that will be the who will be overseen by the manager, one manager. Okay, this means that because a number of people are present under the control of a single manager, now that manager, that person will increase efficiency in his work. Okay, he will assign one task to all of them, and he will try his best to introduce more accuracy in the task because more number of people are present. Now the task can be divided in more number of people. Everyone will then work more effortlessly in completing that task. Next is the chain of command. Chain of command outlines the formal hierarchy of authority and communication within an organization. It specifies the flow of authority from the top management to frontline employees and establishes lines of reporting and accountability. Okay, so basically the chain of command is complete chain from the decision maker to the workers. Okay, and it shows how the information and the authority will flow from
Ma'am,
top to bottom.
ma'am,
Yes, please.
ma'am, could you repeat again from the beginning? I didn't get it. Actually, some disturbance happening. That's why. Could you
Uh,
explain chain?
chain of command. You're talking about chain of command.
Yes, yeah. But you just mentioned something before adding, so I didn't get that.
I explained you span of control, the narrow and the wider
Yes, you
one.
explained that one. I'm fine. Yeah, yeah. Those are fine.
Okay, now the chain of command. Okay, okay. So actually, I explained you that this. Let's take
Mhm.
example of this pyramid. Here is the decision
Okay.
maker. Okay, here is the decision maker. Okay, here comes the level of manager. These two are level of managers. Okay, and here comes the supervisors, and this last level is accompanied by or covered by the employees or the workers. Okay, now this is the chain of command. The information will flow from top to bottom, or the authority will flow from top to bottom. While once the work is completed or a task is finished, the report goes from the lower level to the supervisors. Then supervisors, upon checking that work, will report to the managers. The managers, while checking that work or report, will report to the decision makers present here. Okay, so this is chain of command actually. Information and authorities flow from top to bottom, while the reporting system flows from down to above level. Okay, so this is basically the chain of command. And this is how a centralized or hierarchical organization work accordingly. Clear?
Yes, ma'am, now clear.
Okay, then
Here
comes
it
the
is mentioned like it specifies the flow of authority.
authority. Means that who is the senior person present at the executive designation. For example, among the supervisors and the employees, of course, the supervisor has authority as compared to the employees or workers at the lowest level. And among managers and supervisors, the managers have more authority than supervisors. They'll check the work of the supervisors. Okay, now the supervisors will in turn take the work from the employees or the workers. So actually, who are the person who are doing the tasks? The workers. While the supervisors, the managers, they are just rechecking the work. They are rechecking the tasks.
Mm,
So this
yes.
is authority. Okay, next is the level of formality in procedures. The level of formality in procedures refers to the degree to which the rules, policies, and the processes govern organizational activities. Highly formalized procedures involve detailed guidelines and strict adherence to the rules, promoting consistency and standardization. Less formal procedures allow for greater flexibility and autonomy but may lead to inconsistency and ambiguity. Okay, by the formality in procedures, basically it means that how the rules, the policies, or the regulations are implemented on certain activity within within an organization. Okay, for example, there are two tasks that need to be carried out in the organization. One is the production of a local product, okay, and other one is the production of an international product or the production of a product that need to be exported to some other countries, okay, that need to be exported to some other countries. Now the rules, the regulations that will be implemented on the production of a local product will not be as strict as compared to the rules that will be implemented on the production of an international product. Okay, you will have more flexibility in production of a local product because you are going to sell that product in your own country. You can add innovation, you can add creativity, and it's not mandatory that you need to pack it properly or secure packing. You can, of course, you will pack it securely, but not additional security will not be added in the packing. While producing a product that need to be exported internationally, you need to, first of all, you need to produce it in order to ensure the optimum quality. Secondly, you are going to ensure that there is all the safe raw materials have been used. And third and foremost, the most important thing is that you need to pack that product in more secure way or more safely because the product need to go overseas. Okay. Also, the legal protocols that you need to go through, your organization need to go through in case of the other product B that need to be exported to other countries. The rules and regulations will be there will be more legal formalities, okay, regarding its transportation, regarding its manufacturing, regarding its quality assurance. Most of the time, it is observed that the products that have been manufactured locally and are sold locally, they do not undergo quality control and quality assurance tests, except for the pharmaceutical products. Okay, the medicines need to undergo those quality assurance and quality control tests, but other products do not undergo such tests. But when we are actually sending the products or selling the products overseas, then of course all the products will undergo these tests as well. Okay, so it means that there will be less flexibility in producing the international products. You cannot add your creativity or innovation. You have to produce the products as such according to the guidelines provided to your organization. Okay, so this is the level of formality in procedures. How you are creating, how you are producing one kind of products or local products, and how you are producing the international products. Okay, so now comes the types of organizational structure. Basically, there are three types of organizational structure: hierarchical, centralized, and decentralized, and the departmentalization. Today, we will be studying the hierarchical organizational structure. Organizations implement different types of OS depending on the nature of their business, needs of the customers, and types of the products in demand, and the services required as well. Okay, so as we discussed earlier, all these things basically decide that what will be the structure of the organization. Here are some popular organizational structures, some more commonly observed OS. Hierarchical. So, under hierarchical organizations, four most commonly observed OS are flat, functional, divisional, and matrix. Hierarchical organization among under hierarchical organization, four types of OS are usually observed: flat, functional, divisional, and matrix. Then comes centralized and decentralized, and last is departmentalization. Okay, so let's start with hierarchical organization. Hierarchical. This is a type of centralized organizational structure, or this is basically not a type of centralized organizational structure, but it is actually similar to centralized OS. There is hierarchy of workers with leaders at the top and the workers below and the supervisors placed in between to get the work done. It is more of a linear OS where the delegation of power emanates from the top management. It is a widely popular form of OS and is seen in companies like Amazon. This system concentrates decision making at the top level. As a result, the organization suffers from a lack of creativity as innovative ideas have to work their way up through various levels of management. Also, the employee communicates with their immediate superior and subordinates only. This reduces the coordination at various levels of power and departments. Nevertheless, it is a salient feature of most government organizations. Okay, so it is the same pyramid kind of organizational structure where the top level management are present at the top of the pyramid, while the managers, supervisors, and the workers are present on the lower levels. Okay, and it is most commonly observed kind of organizational structure, and it is seen almost every other organization present around us. One of the most biggest common or big example is Amazon. Amazon has hierarchical structure. Of course, there will be some CEO of the Amazon, and further there will be a number or chain of the designations, and there will be a number of designations present within the physical uh, office of Amazon. Okay, there are a few flaws of hierarchical OS. Number one is that workers will not add creativity or innovation in their work while working in the organization because they have to do the work as such according to the guidelines given to them. Now, these guidelines have been given to them by the decision makers, by the CEOs who are present at the top of the pyramid. Okay, they will not add their creativity. They need to do the work as such. Secondly, because there are a number of levels are present in this kind of OS, so there is a communication gap between the CEO and the workers. Workers will report or communicate with their immediate supervisors. Supervisors will further convey or communicate with their immediate managers, and finally, the managers will communicate with the CEOs or the decision makers. Okay, so due to this gap of communication among the workers and the CEOs, a number, a huge gap, or you can say that lack of creativity is seen in the work of that organization. Okay, a huge gap is seen because if a skilled person is present at the lowest level and he can add more creativity and innovation in the products, but because of a number of levels of command present above him, he cannot convey his ideas to the CEO. Maybe if we do so, or maybe if he will be able to convey his idea to the authoritative person, then and maybe the idea, because of the communication gap among the worker and the CEO, there is less chances of adding creativity or innovation at the worker level or at the task level, okay, lowest level. Maybe if the workers will be able to convey their ideas, to convey their method of doing of completing their task to the CEOs, maybe they'll be able to make them understand, to make the CEO understand about their creativity, and maybe the CEO will accept their innovation, and finally they'll be able to produce more better product as before. But because of this gap, of course, the innovation cannot be added, and the workers have to complete their task as directed by the higher authority. Now, there are four main kinds of hierarchical system: flat, divisional, functional, and matrix. Number one is flat. This OS is devoid of any hierarchy. No one commands or controls the employees. Instead, decisions are made at every level of management. Therefore, it is usually used in small companies with a few employees or new startups. However, with time and business growth, some form of hierarchy creeps into the organization. Otherwise, it may cause chaos and inefficiency in the organization. Okay, so before, as you can see, that this type of OS does not seem to have any hierarchy. Therefore, it cannot be included in the hierarchical OS, because there are chances that the flat OS will convert into hierarchical OS in after the installation, after introduction of organization into the market, after few months after introduction of organization into the market. Okay, so let's start understanding that what is flat OS. Basically, there is no hierarchy present within the flat OS. There is no CEO. There is no one who will take the decision and the others will follow him. Okay. Instead, all the person present at every level will be his own CEO. He will be the decision maker. He will be the supervisor. He will be the worker himself. Okay, so usually this kind of voice is seen in new companies, newbies organizations, okay, or new startups that are usually small startups. Okay, so that is why the new startups, the owners, don't take the risk of having a hierarchy in their company. They will start, they will build their organization. They themselves become the CEO and they themselves become the workers. There, it is not mandatory that only one person will start that business. They can be two or more than two persons, but all of them will do the work and will take the decisions mutually. Okay. So, however, with the passage of time, after a few months, when they see that their company is growing well, they will now convert their OS from flat to hierarchy. Okay, so maybe because of this reason, they have included in hierarchical OS. Next is flatarchy. It's a blend of hierarchy and flatarchy. Flat and hierarchy. It includes. It is also a subtype of flat, basically. Okay, flat OS. It includes features of both hierarchical and flat OS. It is a temporary form of OS that comes into existence only when a new product is created, a new service is being tested, or when a company seeks to develop a new customer support system. So, by employing flatarchy, an organization can have specialized teams to handle the development of a new product or services more creatively and efficiently. It is the best tool for organization to tackle the change in market or industry sentiments without creating capital intensive departments or reforming the OS. Okay, so the Flatarchi is basically a temporary OS. That is why we it is considered as a type of flat OS. Okay, it has features of both hierarchical and the flat OS. Means if there are two or three persons who have just started their business, they will provide. They'll give the authority to one person among all the three. Okay, he will do the work himself, but he is the one who will decide who will do which task and how to do the task, how to complete these tasks, how to carry out the basic procedures of within an organization. Okay, so this kind of organizational structure has a mix of both hierarchical and the flat OS. So that is why it is termed as flatarchy. So after a few months, same as the as it is seen in flat OS, after a few months or after becoming stabilized, that Flatarchy system will be completely shifted to hierarchical um OS. Okay, it is written over here that by employing Flatarchy, an organization can have specialized teams to handle the development of new products or services more creatively and efficiently. Because it's a flat OS as well as hierarchical. And when they are going to produce a new product or when they are going to offer a new service, they will remain the system as flat. Because having a flat system means you can add creativity, you can add innovation. And after introducing that product, they can shift back to flatarchy. Okay, so it's it's flexible. There is flexibility in this kind of place. You can shift between flatarchy and hierarchy. And once your organization becomes stable enough to work in a market independently, then the organization will adopt hierarchical organizational structure. Another additional benefit of having a flatarchy system is that your organization can easily shift between the three kinds of OS: flatarchy, and hierarchy, because your team is able enough to shift between these three kinds of OS, and they are quite efficient enough to tackle the changes in the market. Okay, and on the basis of these changes, the team will shift their workings from flat to flatarchy and from flatarchy to hierarchical OS. Next is functional. Okay, if you have any question up till now, please ask.
Ma'am, for the the hierarchical organization, you said chain of designation. There are four types. Like worker will not add creativity. Then
Hmm.
second was number. There any two more points you mentioned here?
I actually stated two flaws, two drawbacks
Only
of.
two. Okay. Oh, only two drawbacks. Okay, no problem. That one I don't have to. For now, no doubt, ma'am.
Okay, okay, good enough. Then comes functional. The functional organizational structure creates a fixed set of departments based on certain functions like HR, accounts, marketing, etc. It segregates the workforce based on the requirements of each department. For example, an accounting department will employ accountants and work to manage the firm's finances in the best possible manner. Likewise, the HR department will look after the recruitment, payroll, and the administration of the firm. Moreover, the functional OS allows the employees to work for a particular functional role without worrying about the other departments. So, for example, a sales executive won't be worried about a firm's accounting work, and vice versa. Okay, so as the name indicates, it's a functional OS. Of course, this kind of OS is hierarchical one. Okay, now why it is termed as functional? It means that it's an international company, or even if it's national one, it's quite big company or big organization. Okay, it is quite big company, and it is very difficult for all the workers to work mutually for every department of the organization. So therefore the organization's nature of work or departments and nature of work will be divided into different departments depending upon their function, like the HR department, human resource department, the accounts department, marketing department, production department, IT department. Okay. So every department will do their work only. So, like accounts department will, the people working present in the accounts department will only look after the accounts of the organization, and they will not bother about the marketing of the products or the human resource management. The HR department will hire the uh, employees, they will recruit the employees, they will issue the payroll. Okay, and they will look after the amount, sorry, the number of vacancies generated in any department or the hiring of the people accordingly. They will not bother about the finances, the budgeting, the IT, the marketing, production, or any other department. Okay, so therefore when organization is quite bigger one, and it becomes very difficult for the people, the employees, to work for every department, then the organization will divide the employees into different departments on the basis of their skill, on the basis of their education, on the basis of their efficiency. Okay, so after going into their departments, the employee of a certain department will only work for that department. He will not bother about the other departments or other departments' work. Okay, so this is functional OS. Next is the divisional. This type of organizational structure comes into play when a firm has grown exponentially to become a giant in its sector. For example, a giant clothing company will require separate divisions based on a customer groups, product types, and geographical locations. Hence, it will create a ladies' fashion garment division, kids' wear division, men's wear division, and affordable clothing division. Each division will have its own production, marketing, human resource, IT, and sales teams. In this manner, the company could manage the product line or geography with all the necessary functional resources. Okay, this kind of OS is usually observed when the organization has become or grown into a giant organization within its sector, much bigger than the organization which is having functional OS, much bigger than that. Okay, so for example, if it's a garment organization, clothing line, a simple organization, a bigger organization that has a flat OS will have its IT, accounts, HR, production, manufacturing department within the same building. But when the organization has grown to a giant firm, it will be it will become very difficult for a single HR department to deal with all kinds of clothing, the people working in all kinds of clothing. It will become a single administration department to look after or complete administration of the organization. Okay, now what the organization will do, the higher authorities will do, they will divide their products into different subtypes. Okay, for example, in case of clothing line, they will divide their products in ladies fashion, gents fashion, kids wear, affordable clothing, or seasonal clothing. Okay, they will divide their clothing line into different subtypes like 5, 6, and so on, and they will develop a separate, they will build a separate organization, a separate line of organization for a single type of clothing, for example, for ladies fashion garment. Now, for ladies' fashion corner or ladies' fashion garment, that division will have its own HR department, its own IT, its own accounts, its own production house, its own administration. Similarly, the gents, the kids wear, the affordable clothing house, the sales clothes, the seasonal clothing, all of these sub departments will further have their own HR, IT, sales, marketing, production, manufacturing department. Okay, so means your products, the kind of products that you are manufacturing, will have their own separate organization and separate departments for the working of the complete organization. Okay, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Next is the matrix. Under this organizational structure, there is no clear demarcation of the roles and responsibilities of resources. Resources may be shared across different teams to ensure their maximum utilization. It is the least used OS as it is quite complex and confusing and may prove counterproductive. The employees have to play a dual role in this OS. For example, the customer service representative in many banks also acts as their cashier. It may reduce operating cost but badly affect the employee's quality of work and the firm's efficiency. It is a form of decentralized OS. Okay, so again, Matrix OS is a form of decentralized OS if we talk about the functioning, because there are no clear cut rules. A single person can work on two different designations within an institution. Okay, the only centralized thing that can be observed in these organizations is that there is a supervisor or manager who is overseeing both functions of that single person, both roles of that single person. Okay, so if we talk about from the management or administration point of view, it is a type of OS, a decentralized OS. But because person must be there to oversee the role of a single person on two designations, therefore, uh, we have placed this kind of OS under centralized OS. This kind of OS is usually observed in government banks, in government schools, okay, where a teacher who has specialized in a single subject, for example zoology, will be teaching the students botany as well. She can be teaching them chemistry as well. Okay, but she is subject specialist of zoology. So now she is subject specialist of some other subject, but meanwhile she is teaching two or more than two different subjects within the same institution. Uh, for that reason, or if we talk about this thing, then it's a decentralized OS. But because there are vice principals, principals, section heads who are looking after the work of that teacher, then due to this, we can term this kind of OS as matrix OS. So similar is the case with banks, government banks. Sometimes it is observed that a sales representative person or customer care person is also carrying out the role of a cashier as well. Okay, so by this thing, of course, it's a decentralized OS, but because he is working in a bank and there is a chain of command in the bank, then due to that reason, we can place this kind of OS under the hierarchical OS. Okay, so this was all about today's class. We are left with centralized versus decentralized OS and departmentalization. So we will discuss all these three kinds of OS in the next class, inshallah. So if you have any question up till now, please do ask.
Yes. Here's a doubt, like what? So, ma'am,
Mhm.
before getting to the chapter, you said understand the structure of organization before heading to organizational structure.
This
Understanding
slide,
the structure of organization. Yes,
understanding an
yes.
organization.
It's one of I didn't understand. It's like put simply, the organizational structure lays like out who does what, so that company can meet its objective.
Sorry, I couldn't hear your last line. What did you say?
This part, this line I didn't understand.
Okay. You want to you didn't understand this
Put
complete topic?
simply, the organizational structure lays out who does what.
Hmm. Actually,
No, I didn't understand the last line. The last line I didn't understand. Like, put simply, the organizational structure lays means that how we'll arrange the resignation. You meant like resignation, right?
yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The
So is it? Yeah.
the organizational structure lays out who does what means that by having a proper organizational structure, we mean to say
Hmm.
that every person will know about his responsibility, that who will do what will be his responsibility. So organizational structure lays out means organizational structure states that what will be the responsibilities of the workers within working in that organization, who are
Hmm.
actually striving hard to meet the objective of the organization, means that who are actually working within the organization. So it is about
Hmm.
the responsibilities. Okay, having a proper OS means
Hmm.
that every person will know about his responsibilities.
Yes. So my another question is level of formality in procedures. As we mentioned here, as we mentioned in lectures, like how the rules and policies regulated on such policies within an organization. You said like some raw material products, it has to be very secure and safely. So is it related to more legal formalities or something? As you mentioned, more legal formalities. It's quality assurance. Is it like level of formality in procedures like quality assurance?
Yes, level of formality, we are actually talking about the procedures, the legal
Hmm.
formalities, like those formalities that are related with transportation of the products. Okay, if you are transporting two kinds of products, the local one and the international one, the one that we have made for the other countries, and the other ones that we have made for our own country. Okay, so of course there will be different kind of formalities that will be applicable or seen in both kinds of the product. They will be different. Okay, we need to be more particular regarding the products that we are going to send overseas, okay, to other countries, while of course there will be a greater flexibility in the local products if we do not let them undergo through the quality assurance test, or you can say that among quality assurance and quality control, if we have undergone the products through only one of the tests, then we will consider it's okay, whether it's quality control or quality assurance. But for the products that are meant to be transported to overseas, we need to undergo these products from both kinds of test. Okay, because we cannot take risk. Okay, so this is the level of formality among two kinds of products that are being prepared in the same organization, same firm, same company. Okay, so more
Hmm.
formalities, we need to undergo more formalities in case of the international product. So it
I
includes
didn't
both.
understand. Yeah,
It
yeah.
includes both the
I
legal formalities and the local formalities as well.
legal and local
Legal
formalities.
means that the those
Yeah.
formalities that we the organization need to comply in either cases. Okay, and
Hmm.
local formalities means their packaging, um, their safe transportation within the country, regarding the local products only. Okay,
Ma'am, want greater flexibility and autonomy, but may lead to inconsistency and ambiguity, which I didn't understand. Ambiguity, especially.
ambiguity. Less formal procedures
Ambiguity.
allow for greater flexibility and autonomy, but may lead to inconsistency and ambiguity. Of course, because we have added flexibility in the procedure, or you can say the procedures of making the local products. Uh, it is expected that the outcome or the result, or you can say the reviews of that product may not be the desired ones. Okay, they may not be meeting our assumptions regarding their reviews. So in that case, of course, uh, the reputation of organization will be affected very badly. Okay. So of course, as a result of those bad reviews, as a result of those uncertainties that will appear in those products, of course there will be inconsistency in the production of those local products. Maybe the organization will not be producing those products again. Okay. Or because there is a doubt that that the products will not reach the desired aim, the reviews will not be good because the products will not be as useful as they were expected from the uh, team of the organization. Okay. So due to that, of course, there will be ambiguity, means there will be a doubt, there will be uncertainty. So due to that uncertainty, the organization may not be producing that product again. Because there was flexibility, we didn't let the products undergo all kinds of tests. So of course there is a doubt that that the products may not become out to be as useful as expected.
Yes, now I understood.
Any other question?
Ma'am, you mentioned like those type of organizational structure, like under hierarchical organization, which comes flat, functional, division, and matrix. You know, ma'am, you showed one. You showed us one pyramid. So is it related to that, like the flat, functional, divisional, matrix? Like there's a pyramid, is like
Basic.
described in one way. It's because
Mhm.
in hierarchical you mentioned like pyramid kind of organizational structure.
Yes, exactly. Every
Mm.
centralized
Is it
and
okay,
hierarchical
ma'am?
OS.
Is a hierarchical also a type of decentralization or only
No,
centralization?
no, no, no. Hierarchical is similar
It doesn't come with
to.
decentralization similar.
No, no, no. Decentralized OS is totally opposite of hierarchical. Hierarchical is
Oh,
similar to
hierarchical. Okay.
centralized OS. Centralized. We will study about centralized and decentralized in the next class, inshallah.
Okay. Okay. Are there more examples apart from Amazon for hierarchical, ma'am?
Amazon, military, the
Hmm.
universities, education department, the government hospitals, all of them
Hmm.
are having hierarchical OS or centralized OS. There is always
Hmm.
a leader, an authoritative person, or a CEO who are present in all these kind of institutions. And decentralized OS, or the institutions that do not have a proper OS, this kind of OS is usually seen in hotels, restaurants. Okay, the owner is someone
Hmm.
else, while the managers
Hmm.
are actually running their organization. And there are only two kinds of levels present within the organization: managers and the chef or waiters. Okay, and
Hmm.
if we think, the chefs have totally complete command over their cooking. Okay, they can add their innovation,
Yeah.
creativity, they can add the spices on their own. They will not ask the manager for each and everything. They will not ask about
Everything
the
is their
recipes.
own, individual, like
Yes,
individuals, like completely
individuals.
depend on individuals.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So most of the organizations are having hierarchical or centralized OS, while only a few, like the restaurants, are having the decentralized OS. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Now it's clear. Yeah.
Okay, so please,
But
can you tell me the difference between hierarchical and matrix OS? Matrix is a type of hierarchical, but there is a difference between uh, conventional hierarchical OS and a matrix OS. What is that?
as ma'am, hierarchical is like it's quite civilized pyramid kind of organization structure and mostly
Mhm,
observed like chain of designation hierarchical,
mhm,
as well as whereas matrix structure will be used as least or is a form of decentralized, like we have to
mhm,
proceed the rule.
mhm.
For example, customer care person.
Will be acting as cashier also
This
within the
point
bank.
only came in my mind.
Okay, all right. Uh, um, at least the concept is clear to
Hmm.
you.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So this
Yeah.
was all about today's class. Inshallah,